Hello, and welcome to the program. You're watching Good Morning Kenya. If you're just joining us, this is KBC Channel 1. My name is Mike Mego. Once again, welcome. Where are you watching us from today being the 21st of January 2025? How is the year taking you so far? We here at Good Morning Kenya are ready to start your morning in style. Today being a Tuesday, we'll take a little bit of a different direction and talk about matters to do with Chinese culture. You know, the Chinese are celebrating their new year starting this January, but it's different from what we are used to. We're used to, quote unquote, jumping the year on the 1st of January, but for the Chinese, it is a little bit different. So what is it all about a Chinese year, and what importance is placed on its custom, and how has it influenced other cultures, especially in East Asia and the rest of the world? This is the premise of the conversation that I will be having later on in the program with Mr. Lee Pei-chun, who is the Deputy Bureau Chief, China Media Group in Africa. So you want to tune into that live broadcast. In the meantime, Vivian is in the house. Good morning, Vivian.
Good morning, Mike, and a very good morning to each and every one of you who is tuned in on the show. My name is Vivian Degwa. Now, by the way, Mike, you know, Chinese New Year, they will celebrate it this year on the 29th.
Yes.
And it is actually their biggest celebration. It's the same way Christians celebrate Christmas, the way it's such a big deal. So that is what it means for them. It's very and you know, for a person who is hearing this for the first time, it's a very different kind of an environment, because there's celebrations, troubles and everything. So the way you do things here during Christmas and New Year's, it's the way the Chinese do their thing during the Chinese New Year. It's also called the Spring Festival, I understand. Yes, they usually have such a big event. Like, it's a whole celebration. They actually had a precursor of the day on Sunday. They held an event at Two Rivers. It was called Chinese New Year's Gala, and it was a beautiful one. Now, away from that, we know that yesterday President Donald Trump got to be sworn in as the 47th president of the United States. We had Bill Clinton, that is the 42nd president of the United States, in attendance. The 43rd president, that is George Bush, was also there with the spouse, and Barack Obama, who is the 44th president of the United States. They were present for that swearing in, as Donald Trump pledged to restore the country's sovereignty. I am sure you got to see that as it was broadcasted live on KBC. Now, today being a Tuesday, we have a lot in store for you right here on Good Morning Kenya, so keep it right here. Marie, good morning.
A very good morning to you, Vivian, Mike, and to all of you joining us across the country. My name is Marie Ambo, and I'll be taking you through the news of the day. And we start with the highlights, where Mumias Sugar Company pays out 150 million shillings in bonuses to cane farmers. We are ready for talks, that is, government now tells the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers, as governors pledge to address some of the clinicians' grievances as seeking divine intervention. The latest contingent of Kenyan police peacekeepers deployed to Haiti hold prayers on the first day on the ground. Details of that will be coming your way in this particular bulletin, also business and sports. I want to begin right there, where Mumias Sugar Company has paid out bonuses totaling 150 million shillings to hundreds of farmers in a historic event officiated by President William Ruto. The highest earner will take home 500,000 shillings, while the least will take home 5,000 shillings. This is the first time cane farmers in the country are receiving bonuses. Achola Simon with the details of that story.
In the groundbreaking ceremony held at the Mumias Sugar Complex, farmers supplying their cane to Mumias Sugar Factory can today have some smiles.
Kuna mama atanunua nguo mpya leo na afurahishe mzee kwa sababu ya hiyo nguo yake. Hata wiki kuna mwingine atanunua. Kuna mama leo hii atalipa school fees kwa sababu ya vile umefanya. Kuna mzee leo hii atanunulia kijana nguo kwa sababu ya vile tutafanya. Your Excellency, leo hii kuna mzee ambaye ataingia pahali ya kujiburudisha na apigwe kamoja.
The factory, adopting the tea sector model, on Monday commenced a payment of bonuses to farmers who have supplied their cane to the mill, with the highest taking home 500,000 Kenya shillings.
Swali ambayo tunataka tujiulize, hii pesa ambayo tunaenda kuwapatia imetoka kwa exchequer ama imetoka kwa hii kampuni yetu ya Mumias Sugar? Na kama kweli tunasema hii pesa imetoka kwa exchequer, tujue hii rais utueleze ya kwamba imetoka under which provision, kwa sababu haikuwa katika budget yetu.
Na Mheshimiwa Salasia, wewe unajua ndugu yangu, wewe tukiwa bunge, sisi ndio wenye kufanya appropriation bill yenye inagawa pesa ya serikali, na hatujagawa hata shilingi moja ya kuja atikupeana bonus. Pesa ya bonus ni pesa ambayo inazalishwa kutoka kiwanda cha Mumias.
Najua kuna watu wa fitina wanafikiri ya kwamba tulienda kutafuta pesa ya serikali kuja kulipa bonus. Kwani mnaona sisi ni wazimu? Huyu mtu ambaye anasimamia hii kampuni nimempatia masharti na nilimwambia mambo ni mangapi? Hakuna hii lukumba no.
President William Ruto, who officiated the event, was categorical. The windfall was part of the leasing agreement that stipulates farmers will get 30% of the net total profits, while the investor keeps a similar percentage, while the remaining 40% caters for the company debts.
Hapa nimemwambia huyu jamaa ile miwa inauzwa alipe number 1 mkulima, number 2 alipe wafanyikazi, number 3 ile pesa imebaki sasa tufanye hesabu. 30% ulipe deni KCB, 30% wewe uchukue faida yako, 30% tulipe hao wakulima bonus. Sini namna hiyo.
The president blaming poor management coupled with corruption that he said had greatly contributed to the collapse of the government-owned cane millers in the country.
If we do not respect zoning, we will be doing zero work. Because there is nobody, there is no investor who will come from out there to invest in the sugarcane sector and you don't assure that investor that you have raw materials.
Serikali hailimi miwa, wala serikali haiwezi kuuza miwa, lakini serikali ina jukumu la kuhakikisha kuna mazingira bora ya wakulima kufanya kazi yao, na wataalamu kama wale wamefufua factory hii kufanya kazi yao, na serikali hakikishe kwamba kuna sera ambazo zitauniwa wakulima.
Na pia rais, nataka kukumbusha tu ya kwamba sisi kama viongozi wa wafanyikazi tulimpa anayeongoza hiki kiwanda miaka 2 na sasa imekwisha without an issue of unionization. Kwa ajili tunajua wale wafanyikazi wa zamani waliokuwa hapa, wengine bado wako katika nyumba za company, hawakulipwa chochote.
The sector has been on upward trajectory with increased cane acreage powered by affordable farm inputs that has seen the country producing more than double the tonnage of monthly sugar demand.
Katika taifa letu la Kenya, mwaka uliopita wa 2024 tulipata miwa tani 1832, the highest tonnage of sugar ever reported since independence in Kenya was last year 2024. Tumeongeza area ambayo tunatumia kulima miwa. Sasa watu wa Nandi wanalima miwa, Wasingishu wanalima miwa, kule Trans Nzoia wanalima miwa, Transmara wanalima miwa, sehemu zingine zimeongezeka. Mwaka uliopita peke yake tuliongeza ekari 42,000 kwa kilimo ya miwa. Target yetu vile nilitangaza bunge ni kuhakikisha kwamba an extra 200,000 acres of land is put under sugarcane cultivation.
President William Ruto has also promised to ensure an extended value addition that will see the country venture into ethanol production and blending for fuel consumption at the domestic level.
The government says it's ready to hold talks with the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers to ensure uninterrupted service delivery. This comes as the Council of Governors pledged to address some of the grievances of the clinicians, among them the accreditation of registered facilities to the Social Health Authority. Meanwhile, nurses in Lamu County staged a protest calling on the county government to address their issues, among them delayed salaries.
Solidarity forever. On Monday midnight, clinical officers across the country downed their tools, escalating their push for better working conditions. Forever for the union. Addressing the media in Nairobi, the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers officials called on the Ministry of Health to empanel registered facilities to the Social Health Authority and allow pre-authorization services of practitioners. The union also demanded the negotiation of their 2017 collective bargaining agreement.
We cannot be able to pre-authorize. We cannot be able to see patients through the Social Health Authority. And so we are going to remain on strike until that day that we will be able to see our clinical officers pre-authorized and our facilities empaneled. And we also see goodwill in the implementation of the return to work agreement.
Why should we negotiate a CBA for close to 7 years? And yet a CBA has a life cycle of just 4 years. So meaning, we are completing 2 cycles without a CBA.
In a meeting which brought together the Ministry of Health, SHA authorities and digital health agencies, the Council of Governors ordered the pre-authorization of practitioners and empanelment of facilities registered by the Clinicians Council to the Social Health Authority.
Ministry of Health and the Social Health Authority will implement the resolutions of the consultative meeting held on the 14th of January as here under that. 1. Social Health Authority shall empanel and contract facilities and practitioners pursuant to Section 33(2) as read with Section 31(3) of the Social Health Insurance Act and regulations.
Because if a clinical officer is using a license of a doctor and then it's not the doctors who are treating, then it means that that doctor is the one who is responsible for anything that will happen. And that is why it is important to give them the rights directly, because they are the ones who are offering those specialized services in the level 2s, the level 3s, and sometimes the level 4, because there is no level of facility in Kenya that you cannot find a clinical officer.
However, the government says it is ready for constructive dialogue with the union to ensure uninterrupted service delivery.
We are very committed to honoring the CBA with the clinical officers. And I don't think jeopardizing the health of fellow Kenyans is good, because we have, trod this path before. We have been there.
This comes as nurses in Lamu County staged a protest lamenting over delayed salaries, threats from county leaders, discrimination in promotions and career progression.
Watu wanalipwa tarehe 22, tarehe 30, tarehe 1-2. Sisi tunakaa mpaka tarehe 25 mwezi mwingine unapoingia. Hii haikubaliki.
Hatungependa kuwa kwa mgomo, lakini waangalie mambo yetu kiusawa, waangalie mambo kisheria.
Speaking outside the County Public Service Board offices, the nurses complained of being ignored by the county government and called upon Lamu Governor Issa Timami to intervene and address their issues.
Kasichana Masha reporting there. Now let's cross over to the U.S., where U.S. President Donald Trump has promised a new golden age after being sworn in as the 47th U.S. president. Trump also hit out at the Biden administration and his handling of the migrant crisis, saying the country has a crisis of trust in its government.
Donald Trump, who overcame impeachments, criminal indictments, and a pair of assassination attempts to win another term in the White House, will be sworn in as the 47th President of the United States, alongside his Vice President-elect James David Vance. The theme of President-elect Donald Trump's inaugural address will be restoring confidence in America.
And together, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again.
On Sunday, during his Inauguration Eve event, Trump pledged to end 4 long years of American decline and promised a brand new day of American strength and prosperity by cracking down on undocumented immigration, promoting oil drilling, reining in the federal workforce, and eradicating diversity programs. Monday's inauguration events begin with a service at St. John's Church, a short walk from the White House. Supporters are already queuing outside the Capitol One Arena, where the ceremony will be held after freezing weather conditions forced the events indoors.
And back at home, Chief Justice Martha Koome has challenged constitutional commissions to have Kenyans' aspirations in mind in the exercise of their mandates. Koome says the Public Service Commission and the Salaries and Remuneration Commission are two indispensable pillars of Kenya's governance and must be seen to champion the people's interest. Koome was speaking when she oversaw the swearing-in of new commissioners to the two institutions.
Sami Chepkwony and Mary Kimoni have formally taken office as chairperson of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission and the vice chairperson of the Public Service Commission, respectively. At an event presided over by Chief Justice Martha Koome, the two commissioners and their teams were challenged to be guided by the law in the fulfillment of their mandate.
Our constitution envisages a public sector that is not only efficient and motivated, but also one that operates with the highest levels of integrity, professionalism, and adherence to the constitutional values and principles.
These positions are positions of a high calling and of immense trust, and these positions carry the responsibility of steering the future of our public service.
In discharging that mandate, we intend to be very consultative and very inclusive. The Salaries and Remuneration Commission was urged to balance the expectations of public officers for equitable remuneration.
Similarly, the Public Service Commission must lead in creating a public service that is competent, inclusive, and efficient while fostering a culture of innovation and responsiveness to the needs of all Kenyans.
The State Department of Public Service, in its capacity, pledged to work closely with the commissioners in serving Kenyans without allowing the politics of the day to affect service delivery.
We are not in competition with the commissions. We are there to complement each other. We expect wise counsel from the commissions because really that is why you are established, to support the executive.
Among the persons sworn in are retired Major General Martin Kizito, Muhammad Adan Abdi, Jengata Khan Jage, Leonidas Shindu, Gilda Odero and Jeffrey Omondi joining SRC, and Harun Maalim Hassan, Boya Molu and Monamke Amani Mbaruki joining the Public Service Commission.
Information, Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary William Kabogo has pledged to turn around the status of the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation to reclaim its space as the national broadcaster. The CS, who made his maiden tour of the broadcasting house in Nairobi, said the visit will inform his plan of action. He said the ministry will come up with a strategy to revamp the corporation.
ICT and Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary William Kabogo on Monday made his maiden visit to Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. In his familiarization tour, the CS visited various departments, including various KBC-owned radio stations and Channel 1 television studios, and promised to forge a working relationship, even as he called for efficiency.
I have gone through all the departments, and we have more information that we'll be asking the MD to give to us, so that we know how to come in and help. But two things, efficiency and effectiveness. Those are the things I'm looking at.
Kabogo vowing a different approach, saying his will be direct interaction with staff and management of the corporation to seek the best way to have the state-owned broadcaster reclaim its past glory.
And also making KBC the broadcasting station in Kenya, number one, and it is possible. As you know, over the years, KBC has had good infrastructure. So it is just about to improve that infrastructure, improve their content, the equipment, so that they're up to date, probably go cloud, because that's where government is going.
The CS used the platform to call on the social media users to exercise their rights and freedom of speech and expression responsibly.
Instead of putting me in a coffin and displaying me out there, why don't you just tell me what you want? Why can't we have a discussion between yourselves and us? And we also know that Kenya has freedom of expression, but that freedom is limited to the extent it interferes with other people's freedoms. So your freedom stops where mine starts. As long as we understand those are the rules of the game, let's have fun.
Kabogo warned that those using the platforms to spread hate and abuse others are crossing the red line and will be dealt with by the law.
You also know we have laws that are computer misuse and that act. People should be punished if they misuse their computers.
Do you think the law is sufficient?
Well, if it's not, we should be reviewing law. Law is not static. We should be reviewing it as we go.
He, however, said the government has no intention of shutting down social media platforms.
We do not want to think about switching off people because the capacity is there.
Thank you, Giverson Minor, for that report. We go to Haiti, where the latest contingent of Kenyan police to Haiti held a prayer session on the first day of their mission, vowing to uphold professionalism. The team of 217 joined those from Jamaica, Guatemala, El Salvador, the Bahamas and Belize for an interdenominational service.
An interdenominational prayer service to welcome the latest Kenyan police contingent deployed to Haiti. Their mission ahead is urgent and filled with immense responsibility. Jesus, in every restoration of peace and security to a country in the grips of political instability and rising violence.
We value God in our mission. By the time we left Kenya, we had the fear of unknown. But through prayers, we are able to be where we are today.
Wakati tulipokuwa tunakuja hapa Haiti, watu wengi walikuwa na tashwishi sana. Wakijiuliza kwamba je, askari wa Kenya wataweza hii kazi?
The contingent of 217 security officers is part of a larger international peacekeeping effort. For the officers, the mission is also more than just a job. It is a calling to help those in need, and the church service provides an essential moment of reflection.
We've been able to conquer where we have been able to conquer because the Lord has always been our lead and our guide. And what we can assure the people of Kenya is we are coming back alive.
As they buckle up for their mission ahead, the prayers are a reminder of strength, unity, and above all, peace.
In the house of the Lord.
Over to business, where 1.3 million livestock have been successfully vaccinated in the first phase of the national vaccination campaign against foot and mouth disease. Livestock Principal Secretary Jonathan Mweke says the vaccines used in the campaign were locally manufactured by the Kenya Veterinary Vaccines Production Institute and are available free of charge to farmers across the country.
Foot and mouth disease has been a persistent challenge for Kenyan farmers. The ongoing national livestock vaccination campaign is seeking to safeguard the health of livestock and ensure that Kenya's agricultural sector remains resilient. 4 counties have benefited from the first phase of the campaign, according to the Livestock Principal Secretary Jonathan Mweke.
Vaccine ziko zimetengenezwa kevevapi. Kwa hii launch tunaanza na vaccine karibu 1.3 million, so 1.3 million vaccines that are already ready. Hii vaccination sio event, sio unaenda leo una vaccinate ng'ombe zote 22 million. It is a process and we will be doing this process annually for about 3 years, ndio tuhakikishe tumepata ile herd immunity ambao tunataka.
Mweke says farmers can access the free vaccines through local veterinary officers and designated vaccination centers across the country.
Counties are ready. We've been speaking with them for the last 6 months. Tumeshafanya pilot counties 3. Kitui 700,000 vaccines, Wajir 800,000 vaccines, Embu 300,000 vaccines, and Tharaka Nithi 400,000 vaccines. So we've already done 4 pilots in the counties. Na tumeona that the counties are capable of running this vaccination exercise.
The 3-year campaign targets 22 million livestock to combat transboundary diseases.
Tunataka tuchanje mpaka tupate ile herd immunity ya 80%, 80%.
And obsolete technology, pending bills, and unpredictable tax regime are some of the key issues affecting the viability of companies in Kenya. Investments, Trade and Industry Cabinet Secretary Kenyan says he will work closely with the private sector to integrate artificial intelligence and other digital technologies to enhance productivity.
Some companies, including Base Titanium, G4S, Tile and Carpet Center and Mumias Motors in 2024 announced that they were shutting down or relocating, citing high operational costs, challenging economic conditions, and reduced demand for products.
I told you that even when you hear one company has, gone through some challenges, you have 5, that are coming in. So I think going forward, there will be need to have data on those that have had maybe a technology challenge or a capital challenge and the admission of new ones, that are investing in our country.
To forestall similar cases, Investment, Trade and Industry Cabinet Secretary Kenyan is urging businesses to embrace emerging trends, innovate and adopt new technologies to remain competitive.
Some of the issues are to do with the advancement of technology. For some of them, they have not been able to catch up. But majorly also there were issues to do with multiple levies, by different government agencies.
Growing technology, AI, and all these other issues, the industries are changing very fast. And therefore, it is important that we also help them to adapt and to ensure that they survive through and also continue to offer jobs and create wealth for our country.
Kenyan assured stakeholders that key challenges such as unpredictable tax regime and high energy costs will be addressed through a collaboration with Parliament and the National Treasury.
That, you want to know for the next 5 years what sort of tax regime you're going to have, because industries also have financial obligations with banks, and therefore when it keeps changing every now and then, it becomes a big problem.
He is challenging SMEs and manufacturers to leverage on the various trade agreements such as EAC, COMESA, AFCFTA and Economic Partnership Agreement with the European Union to increase exports to Africa, Europe, Asia and the United States.
We are only able to utilize a small percentage of the provisions under these agreements. And therefore, just to note that there's a big gap between government's efforts to open up these markets and the ability of us as Kenyans and the industry to supply.
And large-scale tea producers in the counties of Nandi and Kericho say they have lost about 30 million shillings since August 2024 due to illegal plucking of green leaf from their tea farms. Kenya Tea Growers Association chairperson, that is Silas Njubokale, is concerned about increasing cases of invasion of tea farms owned by large-scale tea factories, citing Sitoi Estate in Nandi County and the Sambret Estate in Kericho County.
Kenya Tea Growers Association chairperson says the invaders have been stealing the green leaf from about 200 acres. He says the stolen green leaf is costing the affected tea factories in lost revenue.
Initially, they were on one corner of the estate, covering a small area, but they seem now to be getting emboldened and covering more and more area, about 200 hectares. We have tried to follow where they're selling the leaf. I would like to inform you that EATTA have already written to its members, all those who buy and process tea for the Mombasa auction, and told them not to buy illegal tea from Sitoi.
He is urging the government to urgently ramp up efforts in apprehending the criminals behind the illegal invasion of prime parcels of land, including the Sitoi airstrip, theft and damage to investments.
If the invasion, theft and damage to private investments by organized crime syndicates is allowed to continue, the potential ramifications for local security, the rule of law and investment are dire. If not stopped forthwith, this illegal activity will be an affront to the rule of law and the integrity of the courts.
The tea and coffee subsectors account for 23% of Kenya's total exports and supports over 5 million livelihoods, including 650,000 farmers.
We look at sports now. The KCB Bank women's volleyball team is determined to start the year on a high during the third leg of the Kenya Volleyball National League, which gets underway this Saturday at the Nyayo National Stadium. The team moved to the Nyayo volleyball court this week, where they have intensified their training under head coach Japheth Monala.
KCB, who are the defending national women's champions, finished last year on a high in Eldoret, where they emerged victorious after a tough season. Team captain Edith Wisa believes they have the right blend of players to stay on the right track and defend their title for another consecutive year.
So far the team is in good shape, the players are in good morale, we are doing well, we are gelling well with the new players, the ones right from school. Last year we were the defending champions for the last season and we hope to defend our title this season. We finished on a high note in the Eldoret tournament.
Naomba Mungu sana niinuke nikuwe level ingine different. Kwa maisha yangu mimi na hope nicheze outside, but kitu ya kwanza unaanzianga nyumbani ukisonga.
The team recently acquired the services of new players who include, among others, the Kesogon twins Bridget and Nancy Baraza, Kwantance's Frida Mboke and Terry Malin, and they have gelled well with the experienced players in their bid to take the club to greater heights.
We know that coming this league, many teams are going to use their new players, their new signings, and we're expecting a tough competition from them. But as KCB, we are working on our side so that we can perfect in each and everything that we need to do well. And I know if we play our game as KCB, it's going to be easy for us to win.
I make sure nimekuwa discipline na nimejituma kwa mazoezi ili pia niwasaidie juu alinisaidia shule kunisponsor.
Mimi ndasaidia KCB kwa moral. Vile pia walikuwa na moral kutusaidia shule, pia ndawasaidia kwa uwanja kama seta.
KCB will spike the third leg on Saturday against Prisons Nairobi at the Nyayo National Stadium after Kenya Pipeline's match against Kenya Army. They will face KDF on Sunday after the All Prisons affair between Prisons Nairobi and Prisons Kenya.
Now, Mathare United founder Bob Munro has left a legacy for his immense contribution to Kenyan football and community development following his passing on Sunday at his home in Westlands. He had been suffering from respiratory problems. Monroe established the Mathare Youth Sports Association, which is a community development organization which pioneered the use of football for societal change among the youth in Mathare and its environs. This gave birth to 1,200 teams, among them the FKF Premier League Club, Mathare United and the Mathare Youth Sports Academy, that have been instrumental in talent identifying and nurturing across the country and beyond, as evidenced in the Premier League and the Norway Cup. Last December at State House, Nairobi, he received the Elder of the Burning Spear Award for his contribution to community and sports development from President William Ruto, who condoled his family, friends, and all those whose lives he touched.
Dr. Purity Ononikena, the youngest PhD holder in mathematics and the youngest CEO of a constitutional commission in the country, is a trailblazer in education and gender equality in Kenya. Since joining the National Gender Equality.
Indeed, that's where we end the bulletin this morning. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Maria Mbo. Stay tuned for more news updates in our subsequent bulletins.